So, the topic is productivity myths and what really works. Our agenda for today is going to be going through different techniques and measures. Firstly, mainly related to individual productivity, then talking about team productivity, and in general productivity tools at the end. So, firstly, about individual productivity. On each slide, we are having some technique or some phrase related to productivity, and we are going to talk about whether it's myth, it's real, or you feel like it sometimes works. So, the first one is the length of my to do list is equal to the amount of work I'll get done. So, like, what do you think of that? Is that a myth, real, or sometimes it works? Feel free to unmute yourself and join and share your point of view.
I guess it sometimes works because when the to-do list is too big, we don't even think of starting it. Yeah, so I think it sometimes goes a bigger. If the to-do list is bigger, then the work is zero, I think. But if the to-do list is small and concise, then I think it we get more motivated and we start working quickly to complete the work. These are my point of view. So I think
Definitely, I think that's great. Yeah.
Yeah, even I have a point to say. So sometimes there are like smaller tasks and then it becomes a huge list. But sometimes that doesn't mean that the work will not get done. Because if the list is like huge and if the tasks are smaller, we can complete those in like less amount of time. So yes, that's also one thing.
That's interesting. That's interesting, to know each one of your point of view. I also feel that way. Like if the to-do list is too long, we might not even start it. But on the other hand, if we have multiple smaller tasks, there's just the satisfaction of marking them as complete, which might motivate us. So, so we'll move to the next point. Okay. So having a free time in your schedule is a waste of time.
I guess free time is not a waste of time. It is a time for like thinking or relaxing or maybe being like a quick nap. We say instead of taking a 6 hour sleep, we take a quick nap, break or nap. I think free time is that a quick break between two works and then we get more productive.
So for you, you would say this is a myth.
Yeah, it's a myth. Free time is a myth. Yeah.
So to add on to what Aishwarya said, so I feel that it is a myth because free time can actually be helpful when you're doing a lot of tasks. You need that time to sort of get back to what your like overall life is, and sometimes that work may get hectic. If you're working for 2 3 hours continuously, then you might feel tired. So I think short breaks between your schedule is, I think, helpful. So I think it is a myth.
So I'm guessing you're saying it sometimes works in your case. That's great. That's great. Now that you say, I also think that is another point of view. Uh, as long as that free time does not take up all the other parts of my schedule, I'm good with it. And of course, I feel it really is important. So I would vote for myth a bit here, because if we don't take that time to recharge, we might feel burnt out, and that indirectly might reduce our productivity.
Yeah, and they say rested people work good, work higher, like that. It is a slogan or a quote, I guess. I have read.
Nice.
Yeah, so I have also have a point. So I'll say it's like having a free time is a good thing. I take it as an opportunity. So if I have like 8 hours of a shift and I have that motivation that I want some free time in my schedule, so I just like buckle up and like close my task earlier, so can I can have some free time in my working hours. So I take it as an opportunity to have some free time. So yeah, it's not always like a waste of time, I guess. Yeah.
That's great. That's great. Thank you for sharing that. So, our next point will be, okay, having a strict schedule will make you more productive. So, when we are saying strict, it's about timing and doing something at whatever you had decided at that specific hour.
Yeah, I guess it's real thing. So like keeping strict here with my schedule. So I know if I have to work for the 8 hours only, and I'm not pushing even a 1 minute after that. So yeah, it keeps me motivated and productive. So yeah.
But sometimes, yes, but I feel sometimes strict schedule creates uh, like pressure and not progress. So I think, yeah, we can't work in the pressure, right? So I think it's myth that strict schedule will make you more productive.
Yes, even for me, I think it is real. If we follow a strict schedule that makes tasks, I think, easier when you know that, okay, I have to get these things done by the end of the day, then I think we will not like extend our timeline and that will make me productive. So, yes.
That's interesting. That is quite a different views we have received here. I would also like to add, for me personally, having the strict schedule sometimes makes me feel like, okay, I have to do this at this time, but maybe I want to do something else, some other task, which I feel that will be a good time to work on right now. And then I end up doing neither of those. So it becomes kind of counterproductive if I stick to a schedule. So I feel more like following what comes to my, like, I have my to-do list of course, but the sequence I do not stay rigid. Whenever I feel productive in these hours, I'll maximize the difficult tasks there. If I feel like less productive, I'll pick up something easy. So that kind of helps. So yes, that is about that.
Many a times we make a schedule, like we will do this, but most of the time it gets collapsed. So I don't think so. Everyone follows that strict schedule.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think at the end it's what works best for you, and all of them find their way suitable to them, comfortable with it, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay, so this one is Pomodoro technique and time boxing. For those who have not heard what Pomodoro technique is, it is a like very commonly used technique, especially while studying mostly. And they have 25-minute focus timer and then 5 minutes break, followed by another 25-minute session and 5 minute break. That is the first technique. And the time boxing is specifically like, okay, this is the task, and I'm going to assign this much time to it, and that is it. So when it comes to productivity, what do you think? Like, is it helpful? Maybe I can give a small. I feel personally like there are two scenarios for studying and working. Pomodoro technique, I really found it useful when I was in college or had to finish a chapter just before the exam and we have to had that session. But when we are working, 25 minutes sound really small because we take that much of time to ramp up into the task itself. And once we get into the flow, we don't want to have that break every 25 minutes. And also for time boxing, I feel like if we have a problem in hand, uh, it's good to set some time, like specific. Okay, if I've spent 1 hour solving that problem and it has been difficult, I could not resolve it, maybe I'll switch to something else, so that will give me a quick break. But if I'm already doing a task, I know I'm well aware of it, and then I decide, okay, I'll just work for 1 hour and then I'll take a break, probably I don't need that break right time. So for me, it sometimes works.
Yeah, I too think that it sometimes works. Like, if we are, as you said, like, there is a short break and then um, between the two time lapse. So it depends on the person, like how much he is productive between the times and everything. But sometimes I think it may break the productive session. Like if I am working, and I am like completely into the work, and the cycle bell, the break bell rings. Then it's like, oh, okay, now I need to take that break like that. And after that, I don't know if I will work or not.
Right.
But yeah, and also it depends on the work style, and sometimes we don't keep the focus completely. Like we try to finish the time, like we will focus to the certain amount of time, but I don't know if we are that much into the work or not. Just to complete the focus time, we'll work like that.
Anyone else would like to add anything, or we'll move to the next?
Yeah, I guess I think what everybody said, it's just correct. So
So the next one is Jack of all trades and king of none won't take you a long way. So this one I feel has different point of views, definitely. So let's say, for example, especially in today's world, like because of so many resources available, knowing a lot of different things is kind of become easier. Whereas there are still a lot of specializations out there. Okay, so from old times, there has been a saying that, oh, you're jack of all trades and king of none. So, in a kind of a negative connotation. But now, today, I wonder whether that's the real case. If you know too many things and probably you're not the best or very good at one particular thing, but you know a lot of things differently. So, it might not really be that bad.
Yeah, I'll agree with you, Neha. Like, it depends on the situation, like what situation demands. So we should act according to that. So yeah.
Yes, definitely.
It also builds like adaptability and creativity, I guess. And nowadays, everyone needs everything. So, basic idea about each thing is good.
Yes, and even there are many things which are coming, like the trendy things or whatever is like in boom these days. So we have to at least know that what things are going on. So it's not necessary to just stick to one point. We should know at least the basics of whatever is going on. So,
Definitely, definitely. Like maybe then we can say that even if we are jack of all trades, we need to be king of learning. So adapting and learning, I guess. So our next point is okay. This one is like don't be easy on yourself while you're working on something. So let's say if there is a problem that you're trying to resolve and it's really challenging from a very long time. So you would say, okay, no, should I do it or should I not do it? Or you just leave it, give up on it. And like that will be like being easy on yourself. Would you call it that? Or you would say, okay, I don't want to give up. I'll put in something like some more energy or XYZ. So is it a good thing, sometimes work, or is it real?
I think it works sometimes, and it builds a discipline. But as we discussed in the first point, I think it will be burnout for us.
See? I think yes, I do agree with you. So I guess it sometimes works, I would say. I think just a minute. Okay. Yeah, so if you're stressed out, you want to like find a new technique or productivity management technique before you actually analyze what you're stressed out about. Like whether it's a problem or it's very challenging for me or it is pushing me to try something different. Before you look into that, you start looking, oh, maybe I'll try this technique, I'll try that. So is that something we want to do? So I personally feel like there are a lot of techniques out there nowadays. People also chat GPT. How should I just complete my work or XYZ? And you'll find articles, blogs, or response from GPT that okay, do this, do that, take a break, take a walk. But sometimes it's just that we are avoiding or procrastinating that okay, this is something new. I know I'll have to maybe study a bit for this or maybe like get outside of my comfort zone, and that is why I'm procrastinating. It's not that I need some new technique or fancy tool, but just a bit of awareness on what is stopping me. Am I like it could be the fear of not able to complete that task, or it could be that I'm just too lazy today and I don't want to do it. So I think this is a myth.
yes, even I agree that I think we should first analyze like why we are stressed out. We should find out the reason behind it and then we can solve it rather than moving on to some new technique. Yes.
And yeah, I think okay, yeah, here I think we'll combine the last three of them as they are related. Firstly, like feeling overwhelmed, break down your task. This I think is also related for teams, not just for individual productivity. And something we hear often that, okay, if the task looks too big, let's break it down. So I think this is real. And this again is for teams also. Like you don't want to plan, just get to execution. And this I want to combine with setting the goals too low. So when we are planning and executing, right, first step is that you want to set a goal, what we are working on, and then finally break it down and see, like, okay, what are the steps I'm going to take to move towards that goal. Now this happens a lot of times. We think, okay, I know the goal, I'll just start working on it, and then somewhere in the middle we are like, okay, we feel lost. So maybe having a brief plan, and not maybe every step and everything detailed listed out, but having a rough plan would definitely help with the execution and the goal itself. Feel free to add at any point. I'm just moving through the slide, just looking like the team part, but yeah. Yes. And the last one was the setting the goals very low. This actually I had read in a podcast, or heard in a podcast, or read in an article. Everywhere, this especially is a big myth, that set your goal that you feel is going to be achievable. And this is a generally, I am guessing a lot of you might have heard it, that set your goals to be achievable. But in this podcast, the speaker said the problem is sometimes that we are setting our goal too low, that we are not putting enough efforts to actually go ahead and achieve it. So the motivation gets low. Oh, okay, I know it's achievable. You're not putting the full effort, using your full potential. So sometimes setting the goal low might actually not work out well when you want to, work something that you're self motivated on. So that was the point of this one.
Yes, Neha, I'll agree on this point because, like, if you're setting goals too low, so it's like doing bare minimum thing, and it's just like you're getting past your day, but it won't like give you substantial like results like what you're chasing or something like that. So yeah, setting like your goals too low is like not a good thing. I'll say.
Yes, I do agree with both of you.
That's great. So I think that was a good individual session, I would say, and like I'm happy that all of you shared your opinions also. Now, like about team productivity. So I know that individual productivity is something that is mostly in our like whatever, depends on our own actions, our own techniques. But when we talk about team productivity, there are a lot of things in the society that are society, when I would say the corporate world or the work culture that we have, and they have certain set rules, norms that people know it's just there, but we are not really sure whether it is helping to boost your team's productivity or it is counterproductive. So, some of these points have been mentioned in this specific section of our myths, real, or sometimes works. So, let's move to the first point. Okay, this one is, I guess, my favorite. So, work logs, constant updates don't affect productivity, and in fact, it is good for tracking. So, what do you think? Is it a myth? Is it real, or it works?
I'll say it's real. Not like constantly like pinging everyone will help, but keeping updated like what you're working on or like what you have done till date. I guess that helps and like helps your superior to track your work, and you also have some kind of like earning credibility in that phase that yeah, I'm keeping updating my team, and you also it also helps you somewhere, like you are setting some kind of goal that if I have to work for 4 hours on this part of task, so I'll complete the task, and after 4 hours I'll be updating my team that this much I have done, and I'll be like doing the next part. So I guess it kind of helps the team.
Yes, I do think it's a real thing. Like he said, if you're not reporting to anyone or not keeping work logs, then I think we would not do the work again. Like it will be like procrastination. We have time. We don't have any deadlines. Then we will track that work, like the work will go next, like that.
So I guess maybe here I have a bit of a different point of view. So definitely regular work logs and updates do help, and also helps me. Like for example, if we consider someone who is a manager, so for them it's easier to track progress. But there needs to be some balance. If I'm constantly worried about what is the status of every task each one is working on, is it in progress, is it in review, when was the, like, having detailed update, time logs, time stamps, it might be too much. And I also feel like, of course, tracking is very important. Like we want to know, like, where we are working on, what the team is working on. But if we only focus on that, we might like lose the sight of actual tasks that we had to complete. So I think finding the right balance would really help. And for the person who is also tracking, if they know, okay, let's say we know who is working on what, and we'll get an update when the work is done. If I'm not constantly worried about next thing, who is doing what, everything, I get a lot of free time to work on my own tasks. So I think this sometimes works. This one. So timesheets are an indication of productivity.
In my opinion, it's completely myth, and this should not exist in anywhere. So it's just I don't know how to put in a like good way, but it's just like feels like a slavery to me. Like I have to just keep updating my minutes to my superiors or whoever is like monitoring that. Uh, I think productivity should be like judged on the outputs that a person is giving. So yeah, timesheets should not exist, I feel. Yeah.
I couldn't agree more actually. So timesheets definitely, like, when we have timesheets, I've observed like we are more worried about what time I'm logging in, what time I'm logging out, what time, like all the details. And rather than working on the like, if I have 2 hours, I'll focus on work, not focus on reporting those 2 hours whether they have been logged correctly. Like, I feel it's a myth. I guess maybe some of you might not have like been in that scenario where time sheet logging in, punching out. So that might be new, but this does like there are a lot of scenarios where you see that they have login time and log off time. Okay, so I think yes. Okay, this one is more of like, yeah, definitely sharing like everything. Uh, about upcoming work right away with everyone in the team is very important. I would say, let's say if you are a senior engineer or someone and you are mentoring another junior engineer. In that scenario, all the knowledge you have about the project execution, all the steps that you want to take in like upcoming events or anything, would you be sharing it right away or waiting for the right time to share the information?
I feel like there should be some kind of like intimation given to their to a colleague or your the person working for you. So giving some kind of idea to them would really help. Why I think in that way, cause whatever he's working on, and if he knows what will be coming next to me, and if it's correlated to that, he may put some kind of effort in his same task only, or maybe it will give him some kind of idea like what's coming to me, so I need to plan my current things according to that way. So yeah, giving some kind of like heads up always works, I guess. Yeah.
Or maybe it can create a confusion too. Like, if we say, like, if we share the work or everything immediately, the people will start focusing on that uh, instead of the current work. And it might cause confusion if the plan or work is not fully planned, or like it's a half plan, like that. Yeah. I can't keep it in good words, but I think it might cause confusion.
Understood. So yeah, continue,
Yeah,
Sanskrit.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, even I feel that I think it can create like overloading of information, maybe sometimes if it is not relevant to everyone in the team. So, yeah.
So I agree with actually both the point of views. Firstly, knowing what's coming up, definitely as everyone at Blumentech, you might be familiar that transparency is very important. Like we want to have an idea what's coming up and what we'll be working on probably, but like giving everything all the details right away because things change a lot, plans change a lot, especially in a startup environment. So that information might be too much or overwhelming, or as Aishwarya Sanskriti mentioned, like we might not focus on the current task and start worrying about what's coming up. And also I think one more thing that adds to it is the experience level, or your in your team, how many years you have been there. For someone who has been there for a long time as a senior engineer especially, they might benefit from what's coming up. But whereas if you're new and your current week focuses on implementing XYZ feature, then probably that information is not very relevant to you, and it might be information overloading. So I think it definitely balancing that out might be beneficial. Okay, just a minute. I'm just going to go through the points we have. Okay. So yeah, keeping a track of things helps us get clarity. I think we kind of discussed this a bit in the previous work log and update feature. Hello. Am I Okay, this one is a bit different than the others. So when we are planning, in IT world, it's pretty like we are familiar with the sprints, weekly sprints, 2 week sprints. But in other industries, they kind of also do everyday planning. In the morning, this is the task. Today you have to do this. Tomorrow, this is the task. You have to do this. Sometimes in IT also we do that when we are in a more rapid environment. But for a general structure, we have sprints. So this particular point is whether planning every day makes your team more resourceful or no. Okay. I feel like if we are planning every day, sometimes we might not know what is tomorrow's task. And it happens a lot when we are planning the week. I might be working on this task today because I am planning to work on the other task on Wednesday, let's say. So if we do that every day, firstly, the two people, like the team members, also have to think, plan their day accordingly that, okay, today I need to finish this work, and the manager also needs to think every day, okay, what work I need to give tomorrow. But when we are planning for the week, we'll plan on Monday or whichever day or 2 weeks. We are clear, and everyone is starting to know, okay, what are their responsibilities for the week, and then they are free to choose what time they want to work on or which day they want to work on it.
Yeah, also it happens sometimes like some tasks get easily done. So we don't have the next task. We need to wait for the next day. Or sometimes if we want to switch between the tasks, it's not a good idea for planning every day.
So, and I think this is the last one, which will lead us to our next session after a break, of course. So, using a planning tool slows my team down. I do recall. Yes, Varun.
Yes, I too think it's a myth because I have worked without a planning tool also and with a planning tool also. So I think using a planning tool can give us a greater view and easy completion of tasks and process.
So I would like to add to that. So I do remember once in our team we had done that experiment. Let's not use a planning tool for the whole week. In the first 2 days, we thought, okay, it's really productive. But after that, there was a lot of chaos and we did not have much of clarity. So that did meant like that led us to this conclusion that even though initially planning tool might take up some time of the week, overall it will save us a lot of time and energy. And secondly, I have also experienced this for maybe the teams that are not that structured. Their operations do not work completely with softwares. So, for example, if you are doing something on sales and marketing, then maybe adapting the tool might be slightly difficult. So, for that, I feel some more evolved tools can be more helpful. But definitely, using tools can save a lot of time, improve accountability, and also give more clarity on what is coming next and what we are working on. Okay, so I think that is all. If anyone else like would like to add anything, please feel free to discuss and ask questions. And I hope you all enjoyed the session. And I'll see you in the next session that starts at 11. All right. Have a nice day. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.